You're listening to Community Radio, CKMS, Radio Waterloo, 102.7, 946 on the Rogers Digital Network. You can find us.
Good morning, Waterloo Region. It is Monday, the 7th of December. On CKMS Community Connections today, we're going to be interviewing Kevin, California at 11 o'clock and Mack Rogers from ABC Life Literacy at 11:30. Let's have a listen to Kevin, California as he sings Lover and Best Friend.
Thinks, will she look at me with those eyes that looked at me for the very first time? Will she ever kiss me again and be a lover and best friend? A burning heart can be a mystery. He knows he has to do something more. He thinks, hey, I've got the key. I'll hold the rose at her door. He says, will you look at me with those eyes that looked at me for the very first time? Will you ever kiss me again and be a lover and best friend? Directs her where to go. It's the part of loving someone that is so difficult to follow. She sighs, my mind replays moments from the past. But I hope these memories don't last. 'Cause all I want is you again, lover and best friend. All I want is you again, lover and best friend.
Kevin, California. It's Kevin, California, his song Lover and Best Friend, and a little bit of Timeless that we heard in there as well. I happen to have Kevin, California on the phone right now. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Bob.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. How are things? Well, where are you calling from?
Calling from Toronto.
You're in Toronto. Okay, it's a new area code, new overlay, because I didn't recognize the area code there. I thought maybe I was calling California. You never know.
Not today.
Not today. You actually come from Waterloo, or you've been in Waterloo. You're a Waterloo local.
Yeah, I grew up there. I wasn't born there. I moved there when I was just before going into kindergarten and all that. And then I did elementary school in Waterloo and then high school in Waterloo. And then I went off to Hamilton for a bit for university, and then went a few different places. But yeah, definitely Waterloo feels kind of the most homey place for me, just because I spent the most amount of years of my life in that place. So.
Right. And since then, you've moved to, well, obviously Toronto at this point, but you've
I've been in Toronto a few years.
Yeah, you've traveled around a fair bit too.
Yeah, after Hamilton, I went backpacking for a year or so, and I pretty much finished my bachelor's degree and wasn't really sure about what I was going to do with it, because I always had a strong passion for music. And so kept traveling around, backpacking for a year, came back to Waterloo for another year and a half, and headed out west to BC. And I teamed up with this improvisational jam band for a few years, and we would just get together playing, and learned a lot about, composing on the fly, and it was a really great experience that way.
So your degree is not in music.
Pardon?
Your degree, your bachelor's degree, is not a degree in music then?
No, it's not. It was in kinesiology.
Kinesiology.
So, yeah, yeah. It was a very. I always knew I wanted to do music, and I just didn't have, I guess, the guts really at that time, or maybe the confidence in myself. I felt like I kind of needed more time to develop myself musically. I'd always been in bands and was more of like a lead guitarist kind of player. And I don't know if I was a little too serious in the bands I was in. I always wanted to take it to the next level. And I found that it was hard to convince people to like go as serious as I wanted to. And so I found that, doing a solo career was probably the best way for me, and kind of guiding my own ship that way. So I think I just needed more time to develop my solo musical skills, like songwriting and singing, before I was really confident to like dive into the music full fledged.
How long did you spend playing with other bands?
I played, probably until I was doing that, when I lived in BC for a few years. At the end of that, that was kind of the end of me playing with bands. So I probably played with bands for a good 10 years. Mm-hmm. And then I did ask those band members if they would move with me to like a bigger city like Vancouver or anything. And they had different directions for themselves. And so I decided, well, I'm going to have to do this on my own. So that's kind of when I started. So I've been doing the solo thing for, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 years kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah. And this is full-time for you? This is paying the bills?
Yeah, it's definitely full-time in the sense that it takes up all my time and more.
Yeah.
And as far as paying the bills, it's always comes and goes with music. It's not exactly a steady, secure job. So I've had different jobs along the way, and my kinesiology helps me, kind of develop those skills, not worry about the bills so much. And then I took other odd jobs, like I worked for a call center for a bit, and I was in Montreal, and so yeah, I did different jobs along the way just to keep myself afloat.
And all of it to keep the music alive.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing else I really wanted to like do as far as with my hands. My mom would often say, your life is in your hands, Yeah. And as far as what I wanted to do with my hands, it was just to hold a guitar or hold a pen and write some words, and so I obviously had other interests, and I was I was really like stimulated by education and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel the same deep down.
Yeah, the music is really what's driving you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you've been pretty prolific. You've got a fair catalog out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to get busy. My first actual recording was when I was like 16 or 17, and I recorded a full album, like 15 songs, with one of the first bands I was with in. And then I took a long kind of hiatus from recording and stuff like that. And then when I went solo recently, I've been able to put out a handful of videos and a couple EPs and some singles. So it's been a big learning curve for me because I really got into the producing myself more recently, and there's a big like technical aspect that comes with that. And like when I first started playing solo, and all I knew how to do is plug a patch cable into an amplifier, and that was about it. Yeah. And since then, like, I'm actually just blown away by some of the things that I've learned and I'm able to kind of put together. So
when you say production, it's something where you're doing the recording, you're doing the mixing, the engineering.
I don't really do the mixing alone. I believe that, the more ears that get pointed towards the project, the better it'll sound. And kind of like two heads are better than one. And so I often outsource on projects for mixing. I'll work with an engineer because it's kind of hard to engineer and like perform into a microphone at the same time. Yeah. So I'll do that, but sometimes I'll engineer myself. It depends on kind of how difficult maybe the piece is that I'm playing or how comfortable I am with it. But the majority, I'd work with engineers for the recording, the mixing, mastering. So I don't do any of that myself. I do some of the editing. I became a little bit comfortable with Pro Tools and working that software and things like that. And then obviously the production, big component of it is just managing the project and making sure it gets completed. So I kind of take the responsibility of that and make sure I remember I saw one producer in Montreal, and he told me, he's like, you started a project, you got to finish it. And this recent one, Timeless, it wasn't an easy one for me to finish, because I had moved from LA back to Ontario, actually back to Waterloo for a little bit, and then out to Montreal. So I didn't exactly have that much downtime, given you have to adjust to new surroundings, meet new people, create new contacts to work with and stuff. So it was I wasn't sure about this EP at times, if or when it would get done. But when it finally did get done this year, it was a great feeling.
Yeah. So the Timeless EP that's just been released, you've done the engineering on that all yourself, or did you hire out for that?
I hired out. So I worked with Simon Petit in Montreal, and he was kind of the main engineer. And then I worked with Ben Campbell, who he's out in Conestoga, just near Waterloo.
Oh yeah.
He's got a great little church that he's created, a student church, and has great acoustics, high ceiling, stuff like that. So we did a lot of the percussion recording there. And so Pat Marr was the percussionist. He's from Waterloo, and had kind of like a guest solo by Andrew Guinta on one song, Rainy Day. So, so a couple engineers, and then also a different engineer. Actually, no, I would have been the additional engineer on that because I helped record viola. I was quite happy with that because, like I said, I'm kind of new to a lot of the technical stuff and making sure the levels are right and there's not too much fuzz and noise
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hisses and all that, and got a lot of compliments, especially in like the mixing stage, about how good the viola sounded at times. And
Oh, cool. So you're a
but
multi-instrumentalist.
that was what I engineered at that time.
Yeah. So you're not just a guitar player. You're a viola player. What else is in your repertoire?
Oh no, sorry. It's Zafir Mamili. He's actually from Syria, who just lived in Montreal.
Mhm.
I believe he's still there. So I was playing at this cafe as a weekly resident for 6 months in Montreal, and most of the musicians I met for the Timeless EP were through that gig. So I would get there early, I'd hear who was playing before me, and I'd stay after, and we'd get a complimentary meal for playing. And so when you talk about paying the bills and stuff, somebody told me, oh well, at least you're getting well fed, so at least I wasn't a starving artist,
Right.
But so I'd stay, have my meal, and I came across a lot of great talent. So the keys were recorded by Jonathan Benson. He was somebody who played at that same cafe. Zafir Mamili, he played the viola at that cafe. And I just approached them and said, hey, I got this project, you want to come and record for it? And most of the people were really interested, and so yeah, we got them in. And so for as far as the instruments that I play on the album, I mainly took care of playing ukulele, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, and then lead vocals and backup vocals.
Okay. So
Yeah.
stringed instruments, but not bowed stringed instruments.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And you've got a video out, just released.
Yeah, it just came out last week. I was really excited about that. I filmed it around Toronto in this past summer, and there's a lot of really beautiful scenery here. Somebody said that the Toronto is like a city within a park, and really, as soon as you kind of step out of that core area, that's maybe 3-kilometer radius, there's a lot of nature here. And I don't know if you saw like some of my other videos. I tend to like being out in nature, and after university, that's what I did when I was backpacking. I was just traveling up the east coast of Australia, camping wherever, and surfing and playing my guitar. And so whenever I can kind of incorporate nature into my videos, I do that.
Shall we have a listen and a look at that?
Sure.
This is Timeless. This is the title track off the EP, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yeah. So this is Timeless by Kevin, California, on CKMS Community Connections.
Timeless all the time. Yeah. You make things timeless all the time. You make things timeless all the time. Yeah. You make things timeless all the time. I wanted the light and views of deep blue sea. Stand on a mountain top with smells of evergreen. Now I stare into a baby's eyes, connect to a living being. And I got everything I'll ever need, 'cause you make things timeless all the time. Yeah. You make things timeless all the time. You make things timeless all the time. Yeah. You make things timeless all the time. words are nothing but the stillness of the mind. And love is the part where you fall apart and realize there is no time. Love is the part where you fall apart and realize there is no time. No time. 'Cause you make things timeless all the time. Yeah, 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 yeah. You make things timeless all the time. You make things timeless all the time. Yeah, 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 yeah. You make things timeless all the time.
Timeless by Kevin California, who's on the phone with me right now. That's really pretty.
Thanks a lot. I also actually wanted to mention a couple other people. Sarah
Sure.
Cochran, she does the background vocals in that. I think she has just such a beautiful voice. She's out in Montreal. She does some of her solo stuff too. And Evan Stewart, he played bass. I remember when he was recording for that song. Something about the way I was hearing it through the phone just recently, like just now.
Uh-huh.
I could really hear his bass licks, and I love it. I think he finished from jazz bass at like McGill right around that time.
Okay.
So you can really hear his kind of funky jazz influence there. I'm glad it really got recorded well on the track.
Yeah. It's a lovely video. How do you shoot a video like that? I mean, it's all perfectly synchronized, but I'm pretty sure that that's not you actually singing in the video. That's probably the actual track that you've recorded and then synchronized afterwards. How does that all work? How do you shoot a video?
So there's no audio recorded at all for music videos. So that makes it a lot simpler because, if there's wind or usually it's wind that causes the biggest problems when you're recording audio outside. So we didn't have to worry about that, which was great. So we used a drone for a lot of the really high up shots near the bluffs there and out by the lake. And we just went out I went with Sam Hirsch. He's a videographer here in Toronto, and we went out for a few sunrises, and we just got as much footage as we could. I had already scoped out areas, and I had already been in a lot of those areas prior to us shooting there. So I kind of knew in my mind what angles it should be directed at and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
Sam was also, doing things on the fly that he was thinking of as far as angles and stuff. So we just shoot a bunch, and a lot of times you'll just roll the footage and then you'll just keep on rolling it. And then the song would just be on repeat, and you have the song playing somewhere in the background, either like on a stereo system where I can kind of lip sync to and play along to, or in my back pocket. And then we also used just like a gimbal attached to a cell phone. So it wasn't even like, I know a drone is quite, expensive piece of equipment, but parts were just on a cell phone with a gimbal, which really stabilizes it and
Right.
gives it kind of that professional feel. So, and then we had it edited together. Sam did a lot of the editing, and then I sent it over to Sim International, who does a lot of big name work here in Toronto. I think somebody told me that they've done Celine Dion's music before, so I'm just going to drop that name. So I had a contact in there, and they did the color for me. So,
Okay.
so like the colors you see there aren't exactly the colors that were
It looks
paved.
very, very rich.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So because they're shot over different days and different times, because the idea of the video was it was kind of all shot at once, and time and space doesn't exist. At least this is what I had in my mind.
That's definitely
And
the impression you get. You're there on the beach, at the shore, on the lake, and you're just there forever.
well, I'm glad that conveys the message, because that's what I was aiming for. And when you go into post-production and you mess with the colors a little bit, you can kind of get that to be a little bit more smooth and consistent. And so you don't notice that, oh, the light is a lot different here in this shot to the other shot, because it's 2-3 hours into the sunrise. So yeah, that really helped a lot.
Yeah. How long did the whole process take? The filming didn't do it all in one day. I don't think you did.
Yeah, the video shooting was 3 days, I think, maybe 4. And then the editing, I didn't do the editing myself, or I didn't do the color myself. So again, that's where I kind of had other people work on the project. So I don't know exactly how many days they did on that stuff, but I know the video, the shooting took about 3-4 days.
Right. And then another, several weeks to do the syncing and the post-production work on that.
It takes it was kind of months in post-production before it came out, maybe not months, but probably 2-3 months of post-production. A lot of times I'll read biographies and they'll say, oh, we recorded this album in 14 days, or and they'll say this really short time period, and I think sometimes people, listeners, fans, the audience, I think they underestimate the amount of time that it takes to create some of these projects and to release them. And a lot of people said, okay, the pandemic came. I was like, I can't do much shows. What are you doing with your time? You know what I mean? There's so much time that is spent in reviewing it, coming up with ideas, just watching it over and over to think of new shots that need to be done, things like that, And so even if something gets recorded in a short period of time, let's say an album, I would say there's months, if not up to a year, before you've got the mixing and mastering kind of to a point where you're happy with. At least that's what I find in my process.
Another video in your future? Are there more coming out for this, the Timeless EP?
Is there a favorite on the album that you think there should be a video for?
Well, I don't know. It's it's all really pleasant music. So it's.
Well, thank you.
it could be anything, really.
I originally thought of maybe another video for Rainy Day, but I'm not sure. I'm kind of feeling out what people think of the rest of the EP and what songs they gravitate to. So I'm not totally sold on doing a video for Rainy Day, or but I would like to do at least one other video if possible for the EP.
And you'd start shooting again from scratch, different footage.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I kind of have for Rainy Day is whenever it's been a real rainstorm or it's been pouring outside, ever since I was in Montreal or here, I would just grab my little, handy recorder, go outside, get the highest quality recording I can, and I'd sit out there for, maybe 30 minutes and just recording natural rainfall. So I'd like to incorporate that somehow if I do the video. But yeah, everything else.
It sounds like the next video is already on the way.
Well, that's kind of the only way you can kind of keep yourself busy. Right now, even though I just released this EP, I'm already halfway through writing the next album, And when I did my first EP, Dear Mom, it was such a new process for me. I just gave everything I had. I went through all the stuff I had, and then I remember I was working, like I co-produced that album and with someone, and he was like, "All right, what else you got?" I had nothing, and I was like, "Okay, I don't want that to happen again." So anytime there's like downtime or I'm waiting for somebody to do something in post-production, I always keep myself busy with the project that's ahead, that's after this release.
So our fans are suffering from not having you appear in live performances. They're going to be rewarded in the long term because you've been spending all this extra time in the background building new stuff.
I guess so.
I've got Currency queued up to take us out at the bottom of the hour. It's already 11:31. So what can you tell me about Currency?
Yeah, so Currency, it was a composition that I had for a long time, actually. I had composed kind of a derivative of that when I was out in Fernie, BC, and I always just kind of jammed these three notes over and over, and I couldn't come up with any sort of melody that matched it. So then I changed the chords slightly, and I came up with a melody, and I actually came up with the lyrics, which is. I remember talking to somebody. I went out for like coffee or something, and I told them, "Oh, I have this new song idea. It's Currency." Or I don't even think I was calling it Currency at the time. But I said, the one line I really want to stand out is, whether you're wealthy or poor, the present moment gives so much more. And so the lyrics were kind of developed in LA. And then I actually recorded and like put the melody with lyrics and guitar parts in Montreal before recording. And yeah, I guess to me it just means kind of sums up the EP. There's kind of a theme of time or no time, and Currency just kind of says, well, whether it exists or not, like try to be present in the moment you're in right now, because that's really all that matters. And I think it was my way of dealing with any turmoil I was kind of dealing with during the time of like moving around or traveling. So
living in the moment. Living in the moment with Kevin, California. Thanks for being with us today, Kevin. It's been wonderful. When you're back in the Waterloo area, let me know. Drop into the studio, and we'll go for the entire hour, and we might have some new material by then as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. And maybe we can even do an in-studio performance. I'd be happy to do that for CKMS.
It just tickles me pink.
And thank you very much for having me on the show today.
You're welcome. Kevin, California, taking us out with Currency. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Time is a currency. Spend yours wisely. Whether you're wealthy or you're poor, present moment can give so much more. Time is a currency. Spend yours wisely. I'm right here now and doing fine. Happy singing and earning my dime. I was gonna sing a song and try to be on pitch. and tell you a story of what it means to be rich. I was taught to rise above, stand tall and be proud, live in a big house in the hills and build it up from the ground. But the present moment means more than trying to be wealthy, famous, or even poor. Time is a currency, spend yours wisely. 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 Time is a
Kevin, California, and currency. And hopefully we'll have Kevin back in the studio at some point. On the web conference at the moment, I have Mack Rogers from ABC Life Literacy. Good morning, Mack.
Good morning. So nice to be speaking with you.
Good to see you, Tim. Tell me about ABC Life Literacy and National Literacy Month in November.
Sure. So ABC Life Literacy Canada, we're a national nonprofit. And November, as you said, was Financial Literacy Month, which is a really important month for us to talk about financial literacy in Canada. And we work really closely with our partners at TD Bank Group to bring financial literacy for people all across the country through both online as well as in-person workshops. Obviously, in today's pandemic world, we're doing a lot more work online than we have in the past. But it's been an amazing experience, and we really enjoy continuing to push out the financial literacy message out to the world.
Right. It's an organization that goes out to different communities, because it's our Kitchener Public Library here that put on the program in Kitchener.
Yeah, so Kitchener Public Library has been working with ABC for about 5 years now, which has been an amazing community partner. The most interesting thing is as they responded to the COVID world, they moved our Money Matters program online. So the Money Matters is really it's a foundational program where you can learn about borrowing money or banking basics or credit. And when we went online, the interesting thing with Kitchener Waterloo Library was it was also about the they had learners from all over the world joining them. And it was facilitated, one of our facilitators actually with us today, Katherine, on the call, and she was one of the facilitators. She can probably give you a bit more about her role in the process as a TD Bank volunteer and what she learned from it and what she was teaching about it.
Yeah. Good morning, Katherine. Welcome to CKMS Community Connections. What was your role in bringing the literacy program to the Kitchener Public Library? I see you're still on mute, so if you can click your microphone on, then hopefully we can hear you too. But no, it doesn't look like we've got Katherine enabled at the moment. So back to you, Mack.
Yeah.
What the Money Matters program teaches financial literacy, obviously, but what would I learn if I were to have attended the program, which sadly I didn't? What would I have learned to do that I wouldn't know now?
Yeah, so it's really important to think about financial literacy. The foundation thing that we're trying to teach you is about confidence. So what we're really trying to do is raise people's confidence to have those tough conversations, to think about money in a different way. The reason why this is really important is in today's world of information, often we can find the answer to a question about how to calculate interest or what products we are looking at online or through other ways. But the thing is to be able to have the confidence to go out and speak to someone and to get answers that you need when you're having trouble, that's really important. So we really kind of focus in on raising people's confidence. And that can be about anything from what product they should get to borrow money, or what loans they should pay off first, or how to save for a rainy day, or how much to save for a rainy day. So it's really important to think about all these different parts as they move forward And that's what we focus on. And that's why it's so great to have banking professionals like Katherine on the calls. Looks like we lost her though.
Yeah. Is the program aimed at a particular segment of the population, people who are badly in debt, or people who need to get a loan to purchase a car, or trying to get a mortgage for a house?
No, not specifically to their financial lived experience. What it really focuses in on is we really concentrate on making sure that it's accessible. So we write it in a very, what we call clear language and design way. So we really make sure that the language is written at a level that is accessible to many Canadians. We make sure that the design and the conversation is maintained in a very professional, yet friendly and open way. So it's really about less about the content and more about how we talk about money and how we move forward with money. Now, that being said, you could absolutely learn something that you maybe never thought of before. There's different theories of how we pay back money. There's the theory of the snowball, so you pay the smallest one first, and then the next biggest one, and the next biggest one, and the next biggest one, and then there's kind of the other theory, which is you pay off the highest interest rate first. Both are really valid ways of thinking about paying off your debt, but it has to be the right fit for you as a person.
Right. If somebody were to come into the program, do they walk away with a diploma, a certificate, some sort of accreditation?
Yeah, everyone who participates in the program does receive a certificate. But really what the biggest thing they're walking away from is that increase in confidence. And the beauty of working with the bank, like TD Bank, is that we also are bringing in TD Bank volunteers who are experts in their field. And they're walking away with the connect. So Katherine, Bob was just asking me about what we try to teach and what we focus on in the course. So maybe you want to take over for me on that answer, since you were actually in the room virtually.
Absolutely. So we started off with this basic stuff like how to open up a bank account, what you would use bank account for. I also talked about making sure that you have your savings at a bank that has an attractive rate. So we talked about that first, and then we also started talking about more, a little bit harder topics like actual financial literacy, like credit, how your credit score affects buying anything like a car or a home, or can even hurt your chances to get like rent from your landlord. And we also talked about just adding, creating a budget. Understanding how to manage your finances, especially in today's world where income may be a little bit harder to find.
Right. It's the kind of thing that you wouldn't run into in ordinary conversation. The three big taboo subjects around the dinner table are sports, religion, and money. So how do you approach this unusual topic with people that have no daily truck with the financial business?
Sorry, Bob, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that question?
How do you approach people in joining a course like that? How do you reach out to people to get them to be aware of the program that you're offering?
So Money Matters handles the actual bringing in of like having people sign up. So I think what they do is they advertise that on their sites. They also send emails. And they basically attract people also through the library systems. I think a lot of people sign up to learn about financial literacy. And now that it's so accessible online, which I think is really great, you don't necessarily have to come in anymore, obviously, because of COVID. You can just sign in through your phone. So I think it's actually really great for people who maybe couldn't do it before. They can now. They can actually access it through their phone, through their computer, right from their home.
Yeah, and just to build off that, Bob, I mean, one cool thing is that, yes, you can do it with amazing volunteers like Katherine, but you can also go online and work the program by yourself through the ABC skillshub.ca website.
So you've got the entire program available there for people to participate in at their own pace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is there additional help available? I know that if I were to go through something like that, there's a good chance that I would get lost in the weeds fairly quickly. So can I reach out to you, Katherine, and get some help from you?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we talk about in the actual seminars is that they can absolutely reach out to me if they have any questions, but I also provide them with resources both from TV and from resources that they can actually learn from home, like Instagram, YouTube. A lot of these products and information is actually free online. It can and be a huge help to people. So I always encourage people to self-teach and to access everything that is free so that they can learn on their own time.
I guess for people who aren't financially literate, they wouldn't even know where to go looking for things like that.
Absolutely. So the resources that we provide are a great starting point, and a lot of times from there, they can actually find a lot of great content through podcasts, through Instagram. A lot of people are always interviewing each other. So it's a really great way to find other sources that are incredibly credible, but also free.
Okay. So as a financial illiterate myself, what's the first thing you're going to teach me?
The first thing I'd want to teach you is that you have to ask questions. If you don't know, you should ask. I think a lot of people, especially that I meet in the seminars, they're scared to ask questions. So the seminars act as a safe space. But the first thing I would want to teach you is that you can absolutely ask. You can't know what you don't know. So the most important thing is to raise your hand and say, I have a question. Can you help me?
Yeah, I think part of the problem that I would see coming into the program is I don't know what questions to ask necessarily. And I worry about a loan that I might have, for example. So Mack was saying, do I pay off the highest interest loan first, or do I pay off the lowest balance loan first? So let's say that's my issue there. I've got a fairly substantial loan, that I need to get paid off. But there's no spare money. How do I do this?
There's no spare money. So one of the things we talk about is if you can review your budget, we usually can find some spare money. A lot of times, if you don't have it, that means that you should probably call some of your bills and ask them and ask the companies if you can reduce your rate. I actually talked about reducing my phone bill this year, but I was paying over $100. I've actually reduced it to under 70, and it's now under 40. So sometimes if you just call and ask, they can actually do that, especially in these times. People want your business, so they're willing to keep your business rather than lose it by going to a competitor. But if you have a loan, the best thing you should do, or if you have questions about that, is not only to research it yourself, but also to ask professionals. So if you can go to a bank and talk to a financial advisor who they're actually accredited individuals, they can actually give you more tailored advice. Right.
And so then if I've got this extra $60 from the phone bill that I'm not paying anymore, this can go towards paying off the loan. And
Absolutely.
Once the loan starts paying off, I should see benefits from that.
You should absolutely see benefits from that. And you can even start thinking about investing. You can start thinking about what other goals you'd like to accomplish other than being debt free. There's other really great goals that you can start to accomplish, like saving a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Also, like I said, investing for your future, investing for your retirement. All those very exciting goals.
Okay, so here I am sitting here with a loan that I think I can't pay off, although you've given some good advice for that. Why should I even think about investing when I have no spare money?
Well, you should absolutely think about investing, because investing is doing the work behind the scenes while you're asleep. And you can invest with another thing that we talk about in the seminars is that baby steps are the most important. So even if you can invest $25 a month, that would make a huge difference to your future. And I am of the opinion that you should absolutely be investing even if you have debt, because you want to be increasing your net worth, even if it's a small amount. Investing is going to be doing that work behind the scenes while you're at work, while you're sleeping, while you're playing with your kids. You're going to be increasing your net worth. So that is incredibly important. The whole idea of investing scares me. You keep hearing about these companies that go under, people are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars from a bad investment that they've made. How can I protect myself? So how you can protect yourself is investing in a portfolio that you feel comfortable with. In terms of, you can invest in ETFs, which have very low fees. And typically, we talk about this at TD all the time, the market does tend to go up. In the collateral that I write every day, we always focus on that even though there's going to be ups and downs, there are going to be headlines that are very scary. Traditionally, the market always does go up. We've already recovered what we lost during the pandemic in March. So if you feel uncomfortable with investing, the first step is to find someone that can help you invest in a portfolio that you feel safe with. So maybe you want to be in a more conservative portfolio, or you want to invest in, like I said, in ETFs that track the market so that you will gain that upside.
What's an ETF?
An ETF is an exchange traded fund. It's I should know this. It is a combination of I think it's a combination of funds that obviously are traded at low value. I'm sorry, I'm not an expert in what ETFs are, but they have low fees. They're not a mutual fund. Okay,
and the thing is, you said that the market always goes up, so yes. I shouldn't be looking for a quick buck fast.
No,
that's not a good way to invest.
No, a quick buck is for day traders. That is not what I am, and that is not what I recommend. If you are investing, you're investing for the long term. You're investing for your retirement. Maybe you have a wedding in a couple of years. Maybe you're investing just because you want to have financial independence, and that's going to take years. That's going to take 5, 10, 20 years. You're investing for the long term. You're not going to invest for 2 weeks from now.
I'm hoping to retire in a few years. Is it too late?
Pardon me?
I'm hoping to retire soon. Is it too late for me?
It's not too late, but you want to be a little bit more conservative with the money, obviously, because you don't want, if you're going into retirement, you're going to need income. So it's not too late. Again, you're going to want to reach out to a professional who understands your predicament, understands your time horizon, and understands who you are as a person, because your money personality has a huge part in investing.
Okay. Are you, Mack or Katherine, are you planning on having other guided seminars, webinars like the Kitchener Library had reasonably soon?
Yeah, for sure. We'll be doing, continue to be doing online learning, virtual learning for years to come with our partners. So different community groups run it at different times, as well as through the actual ABC website. There's programming. I don't know, Katherine will have to answer if she's volunteering again anytime soon. She's been one of our super volunteers and been amazing at working with our learners. So, but yes, absolutely. Like I said earlier, you can go to our website, abcskillshub.ca, do the course yourself, but also talk to your local library, your local learning center, and they can get Money Matters. It's all free. Everything's free, and it's often supported by amazing volunteers like Katherine. So, Katherine, are you volunteering again anytime soon?
I just did one last week. I believe we are doing one next week. But like Mack said, even if you live in Kitchener, you don't necessarily have to go through the Kitchener Public Library. You can just sign on to Money Matters and sign on for any webinar that they're doing that interests you, because it's all online. So there's no location bias, right? You can just sign up for whatever interests you.
That's actually pretty new as a result of COVID. We didn't have that flexibility before.
Absolutely. Yeah. Before we were actually asked, when I first signed on, it was you have to go to the program. So I was only going to be doing downtown Toronto locations because that's where I live. But then once COVID hit, it was, Kitchener. I've actually done most of them in BC. So location is not a factor anymore.
Okay. How about internationally? Do you provide?
No, not international. No, I'm not an international superstar yet.
Strictly Canadian. ABC Literacy Canada is obviously a Canadian organization, so yeah, that's where you're focusing. Do you have contact information? How can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more? If they want to maybe host a program, how can they get information from you?
The fastest way, if you want to host the program, is go to our website, abcmoneymatters.ca. You'll find links to all our regional reps. They can hook you up. It's all free. You just give us a call, send an email, whatever works best for you. And then you can also run the program online if you want to go through it yourself. So we offer lots of different ways of engaging with the program.
Excellent. I'll have all that information on our website, radiowaterloo.ca/CCC. I'll have one link to find them all.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Mack Rogers from ABC Literacy Canada and Katherine Arruda from TD Bank.
Thank you.
Thanks for spending some time with us and telling me something about financial literacy that I didn't know before.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Been listening to CKMS Community Connections. My name is Bob Jonkman. We're going to be taking us out with a little bit of Dan Walsh, who was in the studio a couple of weeks ago. This is Two-Lane Black. CKMS Community Connections is a production of Radio Waterloo. My name is Bob Jonkman. Executive producer is Jennifer Strong. Associate producers are Dylan Bravener, Jeff Stager, and James Jordan, who does the Saturday edition. The Saturday edition is now moving to 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. They're making some room for the Jack and Mark show, which is having a replay at noon, where CKMS Community Connections used to be. There's another new program on at, I think, 7 p.m. on Mondays, My Pod with William Wallace. William Wallace is also running the CKMS 25-hour Christmas Marathon, which starts at 8 p.m. on Wednesday night and goes right through to Thursday till 9 p.m. It's in support of the House of Friendship Christmas Hamper Program. Check out our website, radiowaterloo.ca, to get a little bit more information. My name is Bob Jonquin. We'll be back again next week on CKMS Community Connections.
Hi, you're listening to 102.7 Radio Waterloo CKMS. This is Steve Ashton saying enjoy the show and enjoy your day.